Good evening and welcome to this evening's candidate meet and greet sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Maine and the Lithgow Public Library. I am Gina Coppins and I'm a volunteer with the League of Women Voters and will be moderating this evening's event. We appreciate all of you who are either attending in person or tuning into the event remotely. It's a good way to get to know our candidates. This evening, we have three candidates who are running for 2-year terms to the State House. House seats 59 and 60, both of which represent Augusta. And we have a candidate who is running for the State Senate seat 15, which includes the towns of Mount Vernon, Belgrade, Sidney, Vassalboro, China, and Augusta. Reagan LaRochelle is a Democrat running for State Senate seat 15. Her Republican opponent is Dick Bradstreet. However, Mr. Bradstreet has declined the invitation to attend tonight. Dave Rollins is a Democratic candidate for State House seat 59, and his Republican opponent, Marcus Emerson, is also here. Bill Briggio is a Democratic candidate for State House seat 60. His Republican opponent, Wendy Lee-Bell, has declined the invitation to participate tonight. The candidates will each have 5 minutes to speak. This will be live on Zoom and will be recorded and later posted to the League of Women Voters and the Lithgow Public Library website. After the candidates speak, they will be available to meet with attendees and answer questions. Each candidate will have 5 minutes and we will time that. And so I would like to begin with Reagan LaRochelle and then followed by Marcus Emerson, Dave Rollins, and Bill Briggio. And if you could just tell when you're on the Zoom what you're running for so that people will be clear about it. And then after it's done, we're going to shut off the Zoom. So I just want to thank Sarah Cora Schultz-Nielsen, the director of Lithgow Public Library, for her help, and also Jen Lancaster from the League of Women Voters. Remember, absentee ballots will be available October 5th. And thanks everybody for coming and for also tuning in on Zoom. Reagan.
Everyone, again, my name is Reagan LaRochelle. I am running for Senate District 15, which includes the towns of Augusta, Belgrade, China, Mount Vernon, Sidney, and Vassalboro. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and Lithgow Library for co-sponsoring this event. I think it's really important for us to be able to come out and see our constituents and speak to them. And I've put some of these together myself, and it's a lot of work. So thank you to those groups for doing that. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up in Augusta. I graduated from Coney High School. I then attended Bowdoin College and the Yale School of Management, where I received my MBA. I work as a consultant now in Augusta, doing economic development consulting, and I also have a small commercial cleaning business in the area. My children are 17 and also attend Coney, and they keep me very busy, but I'm still here I am still running for this office. You know, I ran the first time I decided to run for any seat was for the Augusta City Council. And that was in 2019. As we all remember, that was right before COVID, which is a very interesting time to get into politics. But I won an at-large seat for the city of Augusta and served there for 1 term. During that time, the representative who was in my House district moved out of state. And so I was approached and asked to run for that seat for the State House. And that was never something that I thought I would be interested in doing. I enjoyed helping my community. I loved being on the city council. But the more I thought about just kind of why I moved back to Maine, why I went to business school was around the idea of economic development and making people's lives better, quality of life. And I wanted to, expand that from just this area to all of Maine, which is what I feel like I'm able to do in the State House. Now, this seat has come up, the state Senate seat. The current state senator has decided not to run, so it is an open seat. And I've really enjoyed getting to know communities outside of Augusta. Belgrade, Vernon, Sidney, and Vassalboro have a lot of similar problems, but also very different problems and concerns that I've been learning about in the last 5 months that I've been campaigning. So I'm looking forward to bringing all of what I've learned the past few months to the State House and continuing to work on some of the issues that are also important to me. And that includes education, housing at all levels, which we all know that we need. And maybe in Augusta, we kind of notice a little more because we have a fairly new unhoused population that we see on a daily basis. Education, young families. And I've met a lot of people who have moved to this area, which has been so exciting for me to see. Young people who have come here. I just met someone today who is going to UMA for aviation for Massachusetts, wants to stay here after he's done. I mean, those are the types of things that we're preparing our community for. We have new people coming here who like it and want to stay here. So, how do we make this a good quality, a good place to live for younger families, people who are looking to buy homes, people who are looking for childcare. All of those things are important issues to kind of developing our community. Other topics include veterans and seniors. Those are important topics to me. I guess I should say that I served on the Innovation, Development, Economic Advancement, and Business Committee, which is obviously a very long name. We call it the IDEA Committee. And I was put on that committee because of my economic development background. And I really enjoyed working in that capacity. And I don't know what would happen if I were elected to the Senate and had to be assigned to committee, but I certainly do enjoy that economic development aspect of it. So I have 30 seconds left, and I think I'll just wrap up here. But again, thank you all for coming, and I look forward to speaking to you in the one-to-one session afterwards. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. My name is Marcus Emerson, and I'm running to be West Augusta's or District 59's next state representative. I've spent my entire life serving others. Whether it was a 20-year career in the United States Marine Corps, or as soon as I got back, the 2.5 years I spent with the state of Maine. The volunteer service with Travis Mills that I did as soon as I got back. The thousands of hours of volunteer service during my military career, where I still work with the Bread of Life downtown here in Augusta as well. I've never shied away from my nation's, my state's, nor my community's call to service. In the State House, I'll fight tirelessly for affordable housing, funding needs over wants, and a better education for our children and our grandchildren, our future, people that will be taking care of us and our first responders as well. Augusta has definitely been loud and clear over the last few months. The definitive elephant in the room is definitely affordable housing. And affordable has its own meaning these days. We need to encourage investors and builders, as well as take a second look at regulations in order to rapidly increase our housing stocks and do it in a safe manner as well. I'm not sure, but does everyone know that the average price in the state of Maine for a home these days, it's over $400,000. And also, in order to build a new home, 20% of those costs it's regulatory, it's regulation. Regardless of party, I'll work with anyone that can bring much needed housing relief to central Maine. Together, Maine, once again, can be the way life should be. It's a personal question. What are you all's checking accounts look like right now? What do your savings accounts look like? Do you have an emergency account for household repairs if you can even afford a home? What about that vacation account that you had, that vacation you were saving up for, that you still haven't been able to go on since the pandemic because of inflation and stuff's out of control? Too bad you're not the state of Maine, because the state of Maine's budget has gone up $1 billion over the last few years. Is everyone getting $1 billion worth of better service from the state of Maine? That's a question we need to ask ourselves. All this while Maine's elderly homes, the veterans' homes, are always on the brink of closure. Maine's farmland is sold to foreign investors. And our poor children, our students, their test scores have been in decline for a decade now. We can instantly reduce electric rates by getting rid of net energy billing, putting money back in all of your pockets. We could immediately put money in several individuals' pockets as well here in Augusta, in the state of Maine, by reestablishing the senior property tax freeze. Not sure why that went away. As your next state representative, I'll fight tooth and nail for fiscal priorities. Together, let's prioritize Mainers again, us. I'm sure everyone is aware of the steady decline in test scores here in the last 10 years. And of course, the mental health crisis and the stressed out school employees. It's become clear to several, especially myself, that sometimes the state is telling schools what to do instead of asking, what do you need? What do you need to better these test scores? What do you need to better the future, our future first responders, our future nurses, our future teachers, our future politicians? What do you need from the state of Maine to help? At the State House, I'll lend an ear and an open mind to students and staff, and especially the taxpayers, to ensure we are giving our kids and our grandkids our very best. Together, we can once again make the next generation of Mainers, our kids, our grandkids, the best that they can be for them, for us. We owe it to them. In closing, going door to door, I've noticed that people are exhausted from the same old mudslinging in politics these days. And I've worked hard to be Maine's most positive campaign. I've been spat at, threatened, because there's people going around town saying that I'm a fascist, I'm a racist, I'm ultra mean. That's not further from the truth. Maine, if you want change, Augusta, if you want change, please vote for it. And I humbly ask you for your vote on November 5th. Once again, I'm Marcus Emerson. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm David Rollins, and I'm running for the 59th District of the House seat in the Maine Legislature. First of all, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this together and giving our community a chance to expose the candidates for different offices. One thing that I see different as we evolve and as my generation grows older, there's less opportunities for candidates to address the community. We tend to rely on door knocking and handouts. And I think I remember when I was younger, there were actual debates and actual events. We could go and see people discuss their differences and question and answer formats. I think we're better served as a community if we can get back to that. I would like to see that as a change in government. I'm really excited about this opportunity. I've had a wonderful life and a very diverse experience, from sports to business to government. I think I bring a unique set of qualifications to the legislature. Having spent 14 years in big business and representing the Campbell Soup Company, at a local and then New England and then regional from the Mississippi River east, in pioneering the membership club business, working with BJ's and Sam's and Costco, and having exposure to the whole inner workings of the company, because it was a new class of trade and they needed new products and new programs. And it was like a special forces assignment, no dog tags, and you had access to the whole business, test kitchens, production, sales, marketing. It was a master's degree in business. At the same time, I grew up in a small business environment. My dad was a local grocer. He built, operated, and owned Mr. Market in Augusta, and then eventually in Winthrop. And his family were the Brewers Dairy family. So we are deeply rooted in the city of Augusta. I grew up working in the store when I had to stand on a milk crate to bag groceries. So I saw the life of a small business operator, the trials and tribulations and the hours. I spent a long part of my life competing in sports. Whatever the season was, I was competing. And I achieved success in the game of basketball, maybe as much in baseball, but not the notoriety. And I was so fortunate to have a daughter that exceeded everything I ever dreamed of. And she's surely the apple of our eye, and I'm so proud to say I'm Katie Rollins' dad. Also, I stood up and said, I'll run for governor. And I spent 16 years serving in the city of Augusta, 9 on the city council, and 7 as your mayor. I took 3 years off. I didn't intend to take 3 years off. I intended to be semi-retired. But as fate, presented itself to us, folks came up and little Miss Reagan said, "Hey, I'm going to run for the state senate." And I said, "Well, that's great, Reagan. Let me know what I can do to help you." She goes, "Well, if you'd run for my seat, that would be great." So that led to quite a conversation within my family. And obviously they approved. And I said, "You know what? I think I'm ready to do this." I spent a lot of time with my granddaughter in Boston, and she's now off to preschool as a 3.5-year-old and not available for long weekends. See her on 2-day weekends, but I think it gives me the time to do this. What I want to invest my diverse background in, on behalf of the citizens and voters of the west side of Augusta, is a couple of passionate areas that have been dear to me, even when I was on the council. During my time on the council, did much work with the veterans, worked with Travis Mills, worked with the VA Center, established a military-friendly community. I'm from a very serious military background. I signed up for the Vietnam War in the very last lottery. 1973, 18-year-olds with the last lottery drawn. And my lottery number was quite high. But in our class, the entire group of American 18-year-olds were not called to duty. I was the grandson of a World War II hero, Silver Star, battalion commander. I grew up in a military environment. So with the diversity of that background, and especially an eye on small business, as I believe that we have a chance to become the party of small business and go to work to get opportunities for the youngsters who are coming out of the trade schools and coming out of the high schools to become entrepreneurs. I want to put a lot of time in that before I can, and of course, all the needy people and all the housing and elderly will be certainly on the front of my mind. So I appreciate you all. I want to represent you. And I'm an open door. You need something, you'll have my phone number. And I appreciate the time here tonight. Thank you.
Adding cleanup for that reason, a challenge. Congratulations to all of you for willing to step forward and put yourself out there as candidates. I'm Bill Briggio. I am the Democratic candidate for House District 60, which is the east side of Augusta. I'm running for re-election. I've been serving in this position for the last 2 years. It's been a wonderful experience for me. Tremendously glad that I have done it. Not entirely convinced that my wife is 100% glad that I have done it. She's a good sport about it all. And I'll hear about that later tonight. To my background, I'm 74 years old. I was born and raised in Worcester County. A spud picker as a kid, along with our friend Sue Bell, who's here in the audience. And when I was in high school, I suffered a traumatic experience. My mom and dad sat my 5 younger brothers and I down one day and announced that we were moving to Massachusetts. And that was not something that any of the 6 of us were in favor of, but we really didn't have much of a vote in those days. So we moved, and I went to high school there, and I studied political science in college, St. Michael's College in Vermont. Got a master's degree after that in public administration. And in my mid-20s, I began a career in city management, starting out as an assistant for a few years in Connecticut. And then when I was 29, being offered and accepting the job as city manager of Calais, Maine. And so there I went, still a bachelor. I remember my entire world was enclosed in my Toyota Celica. I had my Irish setter and my stereo and my books and my clothes. And I landed in Calais and was very fortunate a few years later to meet a dynamic, wonderful second grade teacher, Janice Church from Vernon, Maine, who later became Janice Briggio and presented us with 2 wonderful kids, Will and Claire, who are now grown and doing well, products of the Augusta school system. I'm happy to say. We lived out in Western New York for 11 years while I was a city manager of Canandaigua, New York. And in 1998, the city manager's position in Augusta opened up and we moved back home. And we've been happily ensconced on Fairview Avenue in Augusta for the last 26 years. When I got to be almost 72 years old and still happy in my job after almost 24 years as Augusta city manager, I decided that it would probably be better for me to retire at that point than to reach the point where they had to walk me out of my office. So I retired. And it wasn't long after that I was approached and asked if I would be interested in running for the House seat that Donna Dorr had so ably held for 8 years, 2.5 years ago. And I thought about it for a while. I talked it over with Janice, and we agreed that was probably a good next thing in life for me. So we did it. And I want to say that the experience has been just tremendously gratifying. I really love this city. I poured my heart and soul into my service as its city manager for those 23 years. And to have the opportunity in a different way to continue to represent the best interests of this community has become very important to me. I tried to focus on issues of concern for our community. The second bill that I put in was a bill that would authorize the transfer of all of the Cara fields and the Piggery Road from the state of Maine to the Capital Area Recreation Association. And we were able to get that bill through. And as of this past June 30th, all of that property belongs to Cara and not the state. The other bill that was really important to me was a bill that addresses water quality problems, including the water quality problems that afflict Togus Pond every year, the terrible algae problems. First time in 40 years, got some money into a state fund to address that. And hopefully in another cycle, we'll get more money. I respect when I'm in my Environment and Natural Resources Committee and there are witnesses in front of us, when the sign comes up that says your time has come, those witnesses who honor that. So I say good night and thank you for being here.
So we have 4 tables and we'll put some chairs around the table. Here. And please go say hello to the candidates, ask them questions. Don't be easy on them now.